Hare Krishna, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, hello everyone. Good morning, all of you. So we'll start with our quote. I think quote is not there. Okay, today is the birthday of David Packard. So could you get his name, Packard? Any a leading these computers and all HP company, have you never not heard? The leading manufacturer of computers, computer printers, and analytic and measuring equipment. In 1939, he formed partnership known as Hewlett Packard Company with William R. Hewlett, a friend and Stanford classmate. HP's first product was a resistance capacitance audio oscillator based on a design developed by Hewlett when he was in graduate school. So he has developed it in his graduation. And the company began with $538 in initial capital, and its first production facility was a small garage in Palo Alto. Now they became a huge company, HP company. Okay, today we will have the CFD overview. As I told, this is an important class to have the overview of the whole CFD, what we are going to do. So CFD is the science of determining numerical solution to the governing equations of fluid flow while advancing the solution through space or time to obtain a numerical description of the complete flow field of interest. And it is a very important to know. So solving a CFD problem is meaning we have to get the velocity, pressure, and temperature fields in a large number of applications because we need them, which involve the flow of fluids, that is liquids and gases. The performance of devices such as turbo machinery and heat exchangers is determined entirely by the pattern of fluid motion within them. Okay, we have to know the fluid motion pattern, and sometimes to calculate the velocities, or if you want to know where to install a AC in a AC room, right, and how to distribute the chairs and tables in the room, so where you get the better flow and all these things you will understand by knowing the velocity pattern and all. And also, as I told, in machines like turbo machines, IC engines and all, you can calculate what are the stresses coming on to the thermal stresses and what can be the deformations and all those things we can uh, calculate based on the velocity, pressure, and temperature distributions. Okay, so actually, if you so basically the flow parameters means we also call them as primitive variables. Okay, so what are the flow parameters? So velocity, based on it is one-dimensional, two-dimensional, three-dimensional. You can have UVW components in X and Y direction, X, Y, Z, Z and directions, and then pressure and density and temperature. Okay, these are the main flow variables which we are interested in to find out the distribution of the properties over a flow domain. Okay, so here how many parameters are there? How many primitive variables are there? If it is,
4, sir.
if it is a 3D, then it is 6, right? So usually for a problem to be closed, a problem is said to be closed if number of variables equal to number of equations. Okay, then we call this as closed problem, which can be solved, which can have a unique or solution. Okay, like this. Okay, when there are 6 variables are there, so variables are 6. So U, V, W, rho, P, and T. Okay, what are the equations we get? So we were discussing about the types of equations. So what are the equations?
So continuity equation.
Continuity equation.
Mass
momentum
conservation,
function.
sir, momentum,
So
and
X
G
momentum, Y
conservation.
momentum, Z
yeah,
momentum,
conservation of
and
momentum.
energy
So
equation.
here these will be 3 equations. Continuity 1 equation,
Huh.
momentum 3 equations. In x, y, z directions, we take the force balance. And then third one is
Energy equation.
Energy equation.
Okay, so like this. So totally how many we got? 5 equations. But we have 6 variables. What could be the 6? Which relates to these variables. Okay, equation of state. Okay, which is nothing but some p is equal to function of rho and t, isn't it? Which relates these variables. Equation of state 1. So totally 6 equations. Okay, equation of state actually, if you see the flows, for incompressible flows, there will not be equation of state. Am I right?
Yes, yes, sir. Rho constant.
So rho is constant. So there will be 5 equations only. Then because rho is constant, rho will not be a primitive variable. So 5 equations, 5 unknowns. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is the way we will have a closed problem. Okay. So we are interested to find out these flow variables by solving a CFD problem. Okay. Okay, these things we have briefly discussed in the CFD lab, but again we will have this. So why CFD? Growth in complexity of unsolved engineering problems. Okay, and the need for quick solutions of moderate accuracy. Absence of analytical solutions. And the prohibitive costs involved in performing even scaled laboratory experiments. So as we have seen, if you want to solve a CFD problem, so to solve those equations, to get those variables, we have 3 methods of solving fluid dynamic problem. So as we already have seen, one is experimental and 2 is analytical and 3 is numerical, which is actually CFD. Right? So normally, as we have seen, the main restriction here is cost and time. And analytical restriction is complex equations cannot be solved. Equations are very complex, and so we cannot solve for normal practical applications. Okay, so we have to depend on the numerical thing. That is the reason. So absence of analytical solution and prohibitive costs involved in performing even scaled laboratory experiments, and we have efficient solution algorithms and developments in computers in terms of speed and storage. Now we have high-speed computers and large storage computers are available, and we have serial, parallel, and web computing, and sophisticated pre- and post-processing facilities. All these things made the development and fast growth of CFD. And here again, I have given comparison to understand in a better way. So experimental, it is capable of being most realistic. That is the advantage. But disadvantage, equipment required, scaling problem, measurement difficulties, probe errors, high operating costs, like that. And coming to analytical, it is clean, general information which is usually in formula form, and we get, it is not written, so we will get exact solutions. But the disadvantages, it is restricted to simple geometry and physics, and usually restricted to linear problems, and cumbersome results and difficult to compute. Okay, so these are the limitations for analytical. Numerical, no restrictions to nonlinearity, ability to handle irregular geometry and complicated physics, and low cost and high speed of computation. And disadvantages, I already told you, truncation errors. When you take a Taylor series expansion truncated for differential equations to be expressed in algebraic form, we have to truncate it. So that is truncation error, round off error because of the computers. And then boundary conditions, we have to be very clear to implement. As I told, if there is a small difference in the boundary condition, if I give, I am solving a different problem and not the problem that is required. So these are the main things we have to be careful of in CFD problems. So it is a third approach to fluid dynamics. And as I told, we cannot just avoid because of this analytical and experimental. CFD today is equal partner with both pure theory and pure experiment. Pure theory means analytical, pure experiment is, okay, the experiments in the analysis and solution of fluid dynamic problems. It nicely and synergistically complements the other two approaches of pure theory and pure experiment, but it will never replace either of these approaches. As I told, when you write a code or CFD problems, if analysis you do, you have to validate it. So you cannot just avoid them, the other experimental and analytical results. And CFD carry out numerical experiments. Whatever we do, we call them as numerical experiments. The experiment, those experiments are different. The numerical experiments are the things which we do on computers. And numerical experiments carried out in parallel with physical experiments in the laboratory can sometimes be used to help interpret physical experiment. Okay, so it is always goes together, right? So physical experiments should be there and numerical experiments should be there, and we have to, they have to complement each other. So advantage of CFD, it complements experimental and theoretical fluid dynamics by providing an alternative cost-effective means of simulating real flows. And insight, it gives better visualization and enhanced understanding of designs. As I told in the last class, where I have shown some visualization things, it gives a better visualization. And testing many variations until you arrive an optimal result. So just I can change the value of something or a design, suppose a shape is there, change the shape a bit, and again you do the same code can be applied for different shapes. Same code can be applied for different densities or fluids. Okay, so you change the geometry, you change the flow properties, anything, you can just same code can be applied by changing the input. Okay, that is the advantage. And testing many variations until you arrive an optimal result before physical prototyping and testing. Okay, so various geometries you can try, and whichever is the optimal shape that you can produce. So that saves a lot of time. And after producing whatever optimal shape you are expecting, then you can do experiments and you can check, and then you can go for the prototype. Okay, and practically unlimited level of detail of results. Anywhere, any point, any temperature, any density, you can just find out just by solving the equations. So no limits for that, and virtually no added expense. And efficiency, compression of design and development cycle. You can reduce the time very much. And the simulation results in prediction of the flow fields and engineering parameters, which are very useful in the design and optimization of the process and equipment. And substantial reduction of lead times and costs of new designs. And ability to study systems where controlled experiments are difficult or impossible to perform. Okay, when there is large system. And ability to study systems under hazardous conditions. As I was telling, if there is high temperature, high pressure, and other things, it doesn't matter, right? I can get the value at any intricate point. So hazardous conditions and beyond their normal performance limits. For example, safety studies and accident scenarios. And actually, when they do automobile crash analysis, they do. If there is an accident, right? So what is it going to happen to the inside parent passengers and or the body? Okay, that you can do with the simulation. You need not risk either the automobile or the human life. And CFD is slow becoming part and parcel of computer-aided engineering. Okay, so slowly it is becoming a part of computer-aided engineering. And why do we use CFD? Because it complements actual engineering testing and reduces engineering testing costs and provides comprehensive data not easily obtainable by experimental results, and reduces the product to market time and costs, and helps understand defects, problems, and issues in product and process. Okay, the various applications are given. So benefits of CFD: it reduces system cost, understand problems, reduce design time and cost, improve performance, and it is used in aerodynamics of aircraft to measure lift and drag, and in automotive applications, that is external flow over a body of a vehicle, and internal flow through engine, combustion, engine cooling, all these things we can get. And in turbo machinery, that is turbines, pumps, and compressor, how the flow is, and flow and heat transfer in thermal power plants and nuclear power plants, and HVAC, that is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and manufacturing in casting simulation, injection molding of plastics, and marine engineering, loads on offshore structures, and hydrodynamics of ships, submarines, torpedoes, etc. And in various other engineering applications like electrical and electronic engineering, cooling of transformers, computers, microcircuits, semiconductor processing, optical fiber manufacturing, and in chemical industries like mixing and separation, chemical reactors, polymer molding, and transport of slurries in process industries, and in environmental engineering, external and internal environment of buildings, wind loading, investigating the effects of fire and smoke, distribution of pollutants and effluents in air and water, and hydrology and oceanography, flow in rivers, oceans, and in the stresses coming on the dams, and meteorology, weather prediction, this is very important, and enhanced oil recovery from rock formations, and geophysical flows, atmospheric convection, and the groundwater movement, biomedical engineering, flow in arteries, blood vessels, heart, nasal cavity, inhalers. So all these things are various applications, and some of the examples are shown here. So pressure distribution and a pickup plan with path lines. So post-processing, okay, after getting the solution, getting the graphical results is called as the post-processing. Okay, we will discuss about that. Okay, various applications are given. Streamlines on a submarine with a surface colored with pressure, and aerospace applications. Okay, various aerospace in helicopters, aircrafts, and all, and automotive applications within the engine, within the automobile, over the automobile, right? Each component through inlet duct, exhaust duct, all those things you can find out. And temperature distribution in IC engine. As I was telling, the main restriction, I cannot measure the temperatures within the cylinder, but I can simulate it. And surface pressure distribution in an automotive engine, cooling jacket, and cooling of transformers, and flow path lines and temperature distribution in a fan-cooled computer cabinet. In a computer cabinet, when you are doing fan cooling, inside that, how it is getting cooled. And flow in lungs. And in chemical engineering, in process industries, or when you stir a thing, how the things change. And biomedical applications in arteries, in heart, and all. And flow through the turbine, turbo machines. And this is draft tube, this is runner, this is distributor. And so you can see in the runner, in a rotor, how the things are changing, and in a draft tube. And some more applications like a pipe junction, or in a sports, when a man is cycling, how the pressure distribution and temperature distribution, all that. And on a ship hull. And so a multi-phase flows also you can do. And when a boiling is taking place, right? So those things in nuclear reactors, when you have the flow over the flow through the tubes will be multi-phase. And in a data center or in a gated community, in various buildings are there, how the flow takes place. So the various applications are given here. Okay, so and here there are various companies that are working In India also some of the examples are given like DRDO, NAL, and I will show you some more things, companies which are interested later. Okay, so I'm giving you overview of CFD. So this particular slide which I am showing in the next is very important. The complete step-wise procedure. Like last class we have seen the software development process. So what are the various steps we go through? Okay, so till the beginning problem definition to the package released in the market. Okay, in the same way, overview of CFD will be like this. We have to select a real-world problem. Yeah. Then the cursor is not changing. Okay. We have to select a real world problem first. So suppose these are very much important if you want to select a project for your PhD or MTech like that. Okay, we have to normally, even if you go to a company and if you say I have experience in CFD, so which any real world problem have you solved? Okay, so we have to select a real. We have already seen a lot of examples. All of them are real world problems. Okay, so select a real world problem. Then first you have to understand the physics of the problem. Okay, so after understanding the physics of the problem, you have to check the feasibility and resources for the problem. Okay, what are the things needed to solve the problem? So we have to have the resources. If you are doing experiments, whether you have the proper resources are there. If you are doing CFD, whether you have proper resources are there. Okay, whether it is feasible or not, whether it can be solved. If you are an MTech project, whether it can be solved in 1 year, and whether if it is a PhD problem, whether you solve it in 3 years. So we cannot take a problem which cannot be solved, which can take still longer time. Okay, so you have to see the feasibility and resources for the problem. Then we have to formulate the flow problem. Okay, we have to understand what are all the flow properties we are interested in, what are the equations that it governs and all governing equations, which we have already discussed. Okay, so for this, there is not a big problem. Okay, so because the data books, if you take fluid dynamics data book and or something, you will have the generalized Navier-Stokes equations are available for every case, right? And because that is highly complicated, for your application, I need not take the complete solutions. You have to see which are dominant things, which variables are important, and which terms are important within the equations. So we have to make or simplify the model without loss of physics. We have to make some assumptions. Okay, so that we will discuss what are all the various assumptions like the steady, unsteady, compressible, incompressible, laminar, viscous, and all those things. Okay, once you understand and you know the equations and all, then you have to see whether we need analytical method, analytical fluid dynamics, or experimental fluid dynamics, or computational fluid dynamics. To get the solution, which method is important? We have already discussed about those 3 solutions, right? So if it can be done analytically, no problem. It can be done, solved, and we can get the solution. But if it is beyond that, we have to see whether we need experiments or computational. Okay. So based on what is the time and the cost available, we have to choose between experimental or computational. Okay. So once you decide we need to do computational fluid dynamics and CFD, then what are the main things that are needed? So this is very important whenever you choose or you start solving the problem. So because equations are known, so as I told in the last class, the problems differ from one from the other based on 2 things. One is geometry and another is boundary conditions. Okay, so geometry, decide about the computational domain. Okay, what is the domain of interest? That I have to know. So as I told, it is not as simple as finite element method, which you might have studied in your BTech. So finite element method, we find out the stresses coming onto a body when are deformations on the body when there are forces acting on a body. Okay, the geometry is nothing but the shape of the body itself is the geometry. But in CFD, it is not like that. We will see what variation is there, what is the complexity we have got in choosing a computational domain. Okay, once you choose the computational domain, I have to discretize the geometry. Okay, right? Because the whole domain, because it cannot be solved on that, it is like when you want to do a curry in a cooking situation, if you have a big bottle gourd, I cannot just put it there and cook it. I have to make it into small pieces so that all pieces gets boiled and all pieces gets the chili and salt and everything and the taste. Okay, so that can be solved like making into pieces. In the same way, if I want to solve a problem which cannot be solved by analytical, right? So analytical solution, as I told, it is an exact solution. Okay, suppose so analytical or exact solution means getting the flow variables as function of xy z t. Okay, like rho is equal to rho of xy z t, and v is equal to v of xy z t, and q is equal to x. So like this, I have to solve. Then only, so this is solution of exact the analytical solution or exact solution. So that is, you can find out, or it will give you the density, velocity, pressure, and temperature at any point in the domain by giving x, y, z values and at any time. So it will be given as a function of x, y, z, and t. No, so at any time and at any space, you will be able to find out. Okay, so that is the thing you can get from the exact solution. But when you do numerical solution, right, because x, y, z can be any values and t can be any value, so I should be able to get the variables at any point, okay, and at any time. So it is not possible here. So I have to see that I will get only at few points in the domain so that I can understand a rough picture of that. Okay, so that is that. This is a continuous variable here. There at discrete points only we can get the solution. So if you want it to be as near to the exact as possible, I have to have infinite points, right? And which cannot be possible because of the limitation of computer storage and things. So I have to take only at discrete points I will calculate. Okay, so that is the main difference in CFD. These are continuous functions. So in CFD, calculates variables at discrete points in the domain. Okay, so that is a thing. So I have to discretize the geometry. Okay, so that is what is called as grid generation. So I have to make a grid in the domain. Okay, discretize the geometry. That is, we have to generate the grid. And then we have to discretize the equations also. Okay, so this discretization of the equations is nothing but we have to choose which way I have to discretize the equations. So there are three methods: finite difference method, finite volume method, and finite element method. Okay, so these are the three options we have. And again, based on our expertise, we can choose one of them. And based on, there are some limitations also, each of them have. So based on that, we have to select it. And once you discretize the equations, the other thing, as I told, is the important thing is we have to know the initial and boundary conditions. So to solve any differential equations, I should know the initial and boundary conditions. Okay. So up to this specifying initial and boundary conditions, we call this as pre-processing. There are 3 steps. The solving of a CFD problem is divided into 3 steps. I will show another slide. And pre-processing, processing, and post-processing. So once you know the equations, the geometry, and boundary conditions, pre-processing is over. Now those discretized equations, right? Discretization of equations is nothing but conversion of we use FDM or FDM or FQM. So finite difference method, finite volume method, finite element method. So this method converts the governing partial differential equations into algebraic equations. So we are going to get simultaneous algebraic equations. And okay, of course, sometimes nonlinear equations may be there, and I have to make some method of linearizing them, and I'm going to get linear equations, simultaneous linear algebraic equations. So already we have discussed the methods of solving simultaneous linear algebraic equations, like direct methods, indirect methods, Gauss elimination, LU decomposition, like that, direct methods. So we have 2 methods, like direct and iterative methods, like Gauss-Seidel. And direct methods are used in finite element methods. Iterative methods are used in finite volume methods. Okay. Okay, so this is the way we have. This is what is called as solving this. Is called as solver. Okay, pre-processor, solver, and post-processor, right? So solving these equations is called as a solving step. Okay, then once you solve means you got some numerical values, some numbers. Okay, so velocity, pressure, temperature, and all numbers only you will get, but you don't know exactly how it is varying, and picturization you will not have. So that is called as post-processing. That is graphical representation of the results. Post-processing means graphical representation of results from the solver or processor. Okay, so that is about the post-processing. Okay, so the setup CFD simulation, this is solver, and perform and monitor the CFD simulation. As I told, when you are doing an iterative process, there should be some stopping criteria. So we have to monitor, right? So how the values are changing and where to stop and all. So that is solver. And then the next thing is post-processing, examine and process the CFD results. And once you post-process them, then what do I have to do? As I told you, I have to do validation and verification of the code. Okay, further analysis I have to do. So once the validation and verification is over, we report the findings. Okay, so that is the way. This is the complete CFD analysis process. Okay, so we will gradually see step by step what is the way we have to go about. One is select a real world problem. How to select a real world problem? Okay, where do we get them? So as a student, if it is a company, they have a problem, they will solve it. Okay, so they need not search for a problem, they have the problem. So as a student, we have to search for some real world problem from the literature or network or anything. Okay, so this is what I told you. Methodology in CFD, we have preprocessor, solver, and post-processor. So preprocessor involves geometry generation, geometry cleanup, meshing. Okay, these things. Solver, problem specification, additional models, numerical computation. And post-processor, line and contour data, average values, report generation, all these things come under post-processor. Okay, so coming to select a real world problem. So what are the sources? So various websites are there. So one of the best website that we get is CFD Online. Actually, if I just take you to that. This is a beautiful website. So everything that you want about CFD, you will get from here. This is cfdonline.com. Okay, so here you will have CFD news and announcements, and use this forum to announce CFD news. You can subscribe to a weekly email news digest. And CFD wiki, like you have Wikipedia, Wikipedia has a space for CFD wiki. Okay, so here also you can have this wiki. So it gives introduction, recent changes, reference section, special topics, application areas, best practice guides, and validation cases, codes, source code archive, and frequently asked questions, history of CFD, and all these things you can get here. Okay, and CFD jobs database. Okay, so a forum where companies and universities can advertise open positions in CFD. And CFD events calendar, what conferences, what courses are going on, like that you get. And online tools, some online free tools will be available. Online discussion forums, if you have any difficulty while solving a problem, in the discussion forum, you can post your difficulty, and some people will answer you. And what are the CFD resources that are there online, and CFD books guide, and feed aggregators, that is news, blogs, vendors, jobs, all these things you will have here. So about the CFD, everything will be there on this website. Okay, so this is very, very useful. And suppose if I go to CFD wiki, so you can see here in CFD wiki, you have a reference section, fluid dynamics, turbulence modeling, numerics, meshing, cavitation modeling, non-equilibrium flows, and special topics like acoustics, combustion, parallel computing, all the application areas, aerospace, architecture, automotive, all these things. Everything you can get from here. So you can have free codes also, commercial codes, all these things. Okay. So this is a very useful website. And then other useful websites, like if you go to the packages we have, ANSYS and Fluent, Flow3D, CD Adapco, and CFD Review. These where you will see other applications like ANSYS, where it is used, Fluent, where it is used in various industries, because it is like advertising. They use it for advertisement platform. So they will say, we have solved this particular problem in this particular company, and they will give some details there, so that you can have an understanding of what type of problems I can solve using CFD. Okay, and other things, you have so many tutorials available in YouTube, right? So those things also will give you an idea. So these are various things. And then you can use the books on CFD. As I told, there are many books which we use in our class are David Anderson, J.D. Anderson Jr., okay, for CFD. And this Fejiger and Perick, which use finite volume method. Whatever we use actually finite difference method till the 3/4 of the semester. Then we spend only few classes on finite volume method. Okay, and this is a very popular book, Welstig and Manal-Sekara, used for finite volume method in various IITs. And there is Blazek, And this is another book, 3 volumes. We use it, Hoffman and Chiang. I'm going to send you the soft copies. There are 3 volumes. We use 2 volumes. Third volume is for turbulence modeling. That we will not use much. And then there is a book by Chung, which discusses all 3 methods: finite, volume, difference, and element. And there are many books written by our IIT faculty, like Date, IIT Bombay, and Sen Gupta, IIT Kanpur, and from IIT Kanpur, Muralidhar, Sundararajan, like that. There is another book by, this is called 3-author book, Tannehill, Anderson, and Fletcher. This is also a good book. And there are the other things. If you want to see what are the current works that are going on, okay, so you can go through journals. And journals on CFD, there are many journals are there. To name few, so International Journal of CFD, International Journal of Numerical Methods in Fluids, Theoretical and Computational Fluid Dynamics, Computers and Fluids, and the Journal of Computational Physics, and Numerical Heat Transfer, Journal of Turbulence, and Numerical Methods for Heat and Fluid Flow, Computational Methods, and Journal of Fluid Dynamics, and Journal of Fluids Engineering by American Society of Mechanical Engineers, and VKI, Von Karman Institute, links to fluid dynamics related journals. Okay, those things. And if you want to see what are all the commercial packages on CFD, okay, so here, if you just, I have given one link. So if you just, so these are all various CFD codes or commercial products. Okay, there are so many are there. All these are commercial packages available in the market. Okay, so again, every product will have its own limitations and advantages and disadvantages. Some are particularly developed for IC engines, some are particularly developed for turbo machines, some are particularly developed for combustion problems, like that. So if I want to use some package, I have to know what are the basic main applications of that. Okay, these are various commercial packages. Okay, this is about how to select a problem. So these are various sources that we have seen. And once you do that, you have to understand the physics of the problem. Okay, and after understanding the physics of the problem means you have to know the governing equations, you have to model them. Right?
Sir,
Yes.
one question was there.
Yes, yes.
Sir, regarding this commercial, that is where codes, like where you can buy, the codes.
yeah.
So how basically, sir, it will help us? It is a pre-made codes or like available codes regarding the governing equation.
You have to purchase
pre-made.
them. You have to purchase them.
Okay.
Like ANSYS Fluent, we have purchased, and you have access from the college, and you can work on that. MATLAB we have purchased. You can use the MATLAB. Okay, like that.
Okay,
They are commercial codes. Commercial means they are for purchasing. And when you are you have a startup company on some fluid dynamic problems, and which is suitable for your problems, you have to buy that. You have to know what are the.
so these are just codes, no, sir?
Yeah,
codes
code means it is a package. You don't know exactly many times what is happening inside, right? You have to like Fluent, ANSYS Fluent. If you have come across that, you have to give the inputs and you get the outputs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it is almost like a black box. You cannot modify the package.
Okay,
Code
sir.
will not be given to you.
Okay, sir. Yeah, got you, sir.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so these are the things I talked about: continuity, Newton's second law, momentum balance, first law of thermodynamics, energy balance, equations of, and sometimes some other equations may be required. Suppose I will go to, okay, these are the equations. Okay, we will derive all these things. Just I am giving. Okay, continuity equation will be like this. XYZ momentum equations will be like this. Energy equation will be like this. Okay, and here in this, suppose you will have density will be there. Okay, sorry, not density, thermal conductivity. And if now tau means shear stress, you will have viscosity will be there. So if the viscosity, if it is a constant, if it is a Newtonian fluid, no problem. Like that, thermal conductivity may be constant or may be varying with temperature. So if they are varying with temperature, some other relations also I need. Like how mu is a function of temperature, I have to have the equation. And K as a function of temperature, I should know the equation from the data books or anywhere. Okay, so there will be another some other equations like property relations. Okay, that is as I told, the fluid property or the body property, whatever is there. If they are constant, no problem. 6 equations, 6 variables only. Okay. So this is the things, and all of the equations, they are represented as a single equation like this. Okay, these things we discuss later. We don't. These are the general equations I have to know: integral form, differential form, like that. And once I have the equations, as I told, I have to simplify the equations. Okay, various assumptions I can make, like steady or unsteady, compressible or incompressible, uniform or non-uniform, viscous or inviscid, 1D, 2D or 3D, laminar or turbulent, subsonic or supersonic, and which forces are dominant, whether forces are negligible. Sometimes gravitational force may be negligible. So those things I can eliminate. So compare it to the enthalpy or the temperatures, the pressure variation may be negligible. Like that, some of the things can be neglected. And whether it is single flow or multi-phase flow or thermal or density effects. So these are all the non-dimensional parameters which are useful. And free surface flow or surface tension or chemical reactions and combustion. So there are various things. I have to know what exactly and how I can simplify the generalized equations. Okay, I have to make the proper assumptions. And the main thing, okay, you have to remember is without laws of physics. So this is very important. And to make it simple, if I just eliminate this equation, this term, so that I can solve it, what is the use of solving it? We lose the physics. Okay, so without laws of physics, I have to simplify. Okay, and decide the geometry or the boundary. And so in general, we classify the flows internal flows and external flows. So whether it is flow through something or flow over a body, like that. These are called internal flows and external flows. Flow through a pipe, flow through an internal combustion engine, flow through a combustion chamber of an turbo machine, or flow through a turbine blades, and flow in a automobile, flow in a room. Okay, flow through like things that these are internal flows. External flows means flow over bodies, flow over an automobile, flow over an aircraft, flow over a locomotive, flow over a sports vehicle, or flow over a Formula 1 car, flow over a submarine, flow over a ship. All these things are flow over bodies. Okay, these are external flows. And for internal flows, there will not be much problem in choosing the domain. Okay, so the geometry through which it is going, that itself is the geometry of the or domain. But when you come to the external problems, then there will be difficulty, right? Suppose when I choose the external flow over just aerofoil. If I take, so an aerofoil is there like this. So on this, I am having some flow. So boundary condition is there here, a bit far off. Okay, if it is a finite element method, you will have forces coming onto the aerofoil. Okay, so the aerofoil body itself is the domain. But now I have boundary conditions coming from somewhere very far away. So here I have the boundary. And I should have a closed boundary. Okay, so what is the way? And so I have to choose something like this, a very large thing. Okay, so here also I should be able to provide some boundary condition. Here also on all the boundaries, I should be able to provide the boundary conditions. Okay, so wherever I can provide the boundary conditions, I have to have the domain like that. Okay, so sometimes I may have to take some, if this is the chord length of the airfoil, so 10C I have to take this side. And this side some 30 chord lengths I have to take. And this side I have to take some 10 chord length. This side I have to take some 10 chord length. I will have a domain very huge in which the aerofoil will be a small one. And I have to calculate Actually, I am interested in finding out the flow over an aerofoil. Okay, on the body, if I know velocity distribution, pressure distribution, that is sufficient. But to have those values, I have to consider such a big domain, and I have to solve the whole domain for velocity and pressure distribution. Then only I can get on the aerofoil. And how much region I have to take, I have to understand the physics properly. Okay, then only I have to choose. Okay, so this is one of the important thing I want to tell you. Okay, so decide about the geometry or the boundary. So this is flow config, the external flows, flow over a rocket like thing. So if it is an aerofoil, okay, this is the aerofoil, and I have to take domain like this, a huge domain like this. It can be rectangle, it can be a circle, it can be an elliptic thing, anything like that. And so external flow, you see, a flow over a small sphere or cylinder I want, I have to take this much of domain. So see, flow over an automobile. This is the automobile I want. I have to take such a huge three-dimensional domain box. So if I have to discretize, see how many grid points are there here. Okay, millions of grid points will be there. Okay, so if I want to, and also I have to have fine grid where I have large variations of the properties. Okay, and when the variations I am not interested in over the sea, if you can see the grid, it is very coarse grid here, and near the boundary I have very, very fine grid. Thousands of points will be there within a small domain. Okay, and the internal flow through a diffuser, flow through an automobile like this. Okay, and the flow through a convergent divergent diffuser like that. And then boundary conditions. So as I was talking about boundary conditions, there are various types of boundary conditions. Like we call it, if you know on the boundary, the dependent variable, the value of pressure, velocity, or temperature, if you know, if you specify that, that is called as specifying the dependent variable. Phi is the dependent variable here. If you can prescribe that, that is called as Dirichlet condition. If you know the value on that boundary. But sometimes I will not know the value. I know the derivative of the value. Then that is called as Newman boundary condition. If the normal gradient of the dependent variable is specified. Sometimes there is called as Robin condition, where I have a linear combination of Dirichlet and Newman types. Okay, so this is the A phi plus D dou phi by dou n is equal to F X, Y, Z. Okay, so this is a linear combination of this and this. If I know the prescribed variable, that is Dirichlet. If I know the derivative, it is Newman. And if I have the combination of those two, Robin condition. Mixed condition on the boundary, on some portion of the boundary, if I know the variable, and on some portion, if I know the derivative, it is called as mixed condition. Okay, various types of boundaries will be there. Solid walls may be there, inlets may be there, outlets may be there, and there will be symmetry boundary conditions, and sometimes periodic boundary condition, and sometimes free surface or interface boundary conditions, and there are far field boundary conditions. Okay, so we will see what type of things are there. Suppose here this is the flow over cylinder or sphere, and I have this is the boundary. Okay, so here I can know the velocity here. This is Dirichlet condition, and here the derivative of the velocity should become 0 there at far field. So that is called as Newman condition like that. So I will show you some other examples. Like if I have a pipe like this. Okay, so here on the wall there is what is called as a no slip boundary condition. No slip means velocity is 0. That is, I am prescribing the dependent variables. That is u equal to 0, v equal to 0 like that. Okay, so that is like that. And the axisymmetric condition. So at the center, right, I should have the maximum value. Maximum means the derivative of the dependent variable will be 0 like that. Okay, so here inlet conditions I have to give here, exit conditions I have to give here, wall condition I have to give here, axisymmetric condition I have to give here, like the different types of boundary conditions will be. Similarly, if I want to know flow through a cascade, okay, so two blades, between two blades if I want. So this is inlet boundary, this is exit boundary, and here I will have solid wall boundary, right? And here this is periodic boundary, because between every two blades periodically it gets repeated. So that is called as periodic boundary. These are various boundaries. Then we have to discretize the geometry. Grid generation will be there. And there are two types of grids, structured grids and unstructured grids. So structured grids means, so if you see this is structured grid, means if you have a grid, okay, so third horizontal line, fourth vertical line, like that you can identify the grid based on the grid lines. Okay, such is the things are called structured. This is structured grid, this is structured grid, this is structured grid, but this is unstructured. Okay, so you can see these are unstructured grids because they are completely haphazard. I don't know, I cannot give a grid point, something like this. This is IJK like that. Okay, so these are all unstructured grids. And there will be hybrid grid, structured grid and unstructured grid combination. And there are what are called as adaptive grids. Okay, so the grids also can be fixed and the adaptive grids. Adapted. Okay, so fixed means throughout the calculation I will have the same grid. Adaptive grid means, so initially I don't know where there will be more variation in the variables, where will be less variation. So wherever variation of variable is large, I should have fine grid. Wherever it is not large, I should have coarse grid. Okay, because large number of grids means the computer load will be more, the load on the computer. So I should have as less as possible to save the computer, and but as many as possible to have better solution. Okay, so I have to decide about that. So initially I don't know where there will be concentration of grid I need. So I have to see that first take a coarse grid, do some calculations, some iterations, then you see based on the variable values, if you can modify the grid, that is called as adaptive grid. Okay, see initially it will be some uniform grid, and after doing calculations and all, so it is found that there will be variations near the wall is more, near the wake it is more. So then it is getting modified. Okay, so then I will get, so this is the final contours of mesh. Okay, that is, these are the values I am going, because large pressure gradients are there. So if you see the grid and the values, they are look a little bit similar. Still better I will see here. Okay, after having modified the grid for every few iterations and all, so the grid is like this. It gets modified because the values of the pressure are like this. Here the pressure gradients are very large. This is a shock. So across a shock, there is large gradient. So what it will do is, it will make the grid very fine here. So by seeing the grid itself, you can understand how the variables will be in reality. Okay, even without calculation, just by seeing the grid, I will say, okay, there are more variations in these portions. Okay, so it adapts itself. So grid generation methods are there, algebraic grids, partial differential equation methods, conformal mapping methods like that. This we discuss in grid generation. Then we have the solver. So as I told you, you have to use a solver like Gauss Seidel or anything like that. So after using finite difference method or finite element method or finite volume method. Okay, so you just go through them. We don't have time, and you can understand what is a little bit variation. We will discuss later classes in detail. Okay, main things, one or two I will tell you. Finite difference methods. It is restricted to structured grids only. Okay, and finite volume and finite element, any grid. And so these two are quite flexible. You can have any type of problem that can be solved. finite difference method, this is simple, but it is restricted to structured grids. That is the main thing. These are complex, but can solve any problem, any geometry, and any problem. But still, compare it to these two. In comparing these two, FEM mostly, okay, some people who are experts in FEM may be unhappy by my statement. It is limited to linear equations. Okay, and mainly limited to solid mechanics problems. Okay, some people solve fluid mechanics problems, but it is efficient for solid mechanics. I should not say limited, efficient to solid mechanics problems. Okay, and finite volume method, all commercial packages use finite. Okay, pre-processor. So we discretize the equations, and then we have post-process. Post-process, as I told, the various I have already shown you. You can have streamline plots. You can have XY plots. You can have velocity vector plots, right? So velocity, it gives arrows. If arrow is large, more velocity. Arrow is small, less velocity. Okay, so like that. And you have flooded contours based on the color, where there is more pressure or less pressure, where more velocity, less velocity, you can know. These are called flooded contours. So this is color plot again. So this is pressure distribution. This is velocity distribution. So velocity vectors again, as I told. This is also velocity vector plot and pressure contours. Okay. So again, based on the color, I can tell more or less, and each line represents one particular pressure. Like scatter plot. Here also the size of the circle gives the dimension of the particular velocity. This is XY, and this is pressure distribution. And mesh plot. Okay, and this is a 3D problem. So at different sections, how the meshes are there, you can show like this. And composite plot. So in a portion, so here there is velocity vector, here there is mesh, and here there is pressure contour. Like that, you can have a composite plot. And the animations already I have shown you. I will not show now. In the first class, I have shown you. Okay. Like this. And then I talked about the validation. You have to do the validation and verify the code to make sure that the numerical solutions are correct, and compare the results with available experimental and analytical results, and perform sensitivity analysis and parametric study by varying a parameter, how the things change. And so try using different models, geometry, and initial and boundary conditions. So, and then report the findings. Okay. So this is the way we do. Okay, I think I will stop here. This is the complete overview of CFD. Any questions?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Regarding the validation, with an example, can you explain it even more further, sir? Like, I'm confused with the validation process.
Okay, as I told, validation means I have to do the code. So I am doing the code. I have to say that it is working. I have to prove my code is working, right? So I should have some existing results. Suppose I am doing a turbulence problem. A turbulence problem should work with laminar problem also. For laminar problem, there may be analytical results available. Okay. So what I have to do is my turbulence code, I run for laminar problem, and I validate with the code. I compare. See, for this laminar problem, it is working exactly. It is giving and results. So my turbulent problem also may be giving the results. So to gain confidence of the other person. In the same way, as I was telling, if I have designed the profile of an automobile shape, I have got a good shape, which gives me very less drag. So I go to an automobile industry, I will claim that this particular shape will reduce the fuel consumption a lot. But that fellow will not believe me. So then what I tell is, because you have already existing shapes are there for which you have already the results, you give me the shape and I will demonstrate that my code will work, and then only you believe me. Okay, so I will take that particular shape which is available with the results, and I demonstrate that this particular shape, the results are matching. So whatever I am proposing, right, then you can understand that it gives me right results. Validation means validate it with existing results. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And okay, with some fluid, I have the result. And if I
Sir?
change the fluid, yes.
Sir, is there any procedure which convert the unstructured grid to structured grid?
No. Procedure to convert.
Convert the unstructured to structure?
No. Actually, if structured grid is okay, I will be happy. It will be simple and I will solve it. But for some geometries, unstructured grid is needed. I cannot solve it with structured grid. If the geometry is complex,
So you-
what is structured grid means actually. Okay. Structured grid, usually the lines will be in the coordinate directions like this. It can be close somewhere and wider somewhere. It can be non-uniform or uniform grid, but the lines must be in coordinate directions.
Okay, sir.
And unstructured grid, it will be something triangular or even quadrilateral things, something like this.
Okay,
It can be like that. Okay.
Sir,
So you
for
cannot-
structured grid, we use finite difference method and unstructured finite volume
structured
method.
grid can be used in any FDM, FEM, FEM,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Unstructured grid cannot be solved with FDM. Finite volume and if it can solve unstructured grid problem, structured grid problem is easy for it.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So like that.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yes. Any other?
yes, sir. Like as you told us, can we use a John David Anderson book initially?
Actually, next class, I'm going to start the governing equations, and that particular governing equations is taken from I use J.D. Anderson book. Okay, I will send you the soft copies. And for this particular class, you don't have any source for it. It is a general one. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, you have said that we can make a shape, any geometry, any shape of a car or something, and after that we will do validation and we will prove our results.
Yeah.
So, how this shape is designed and decided? Like how we will start to make a shape of anything?
Starting with common sense, they will make some shape. Okay, because I have to have a streamlined body.
Yes, sir.
Okay, streamlined body, you have to just imagine and you produce it.
Okay, so the starting stage is the free sketch or the rough sketch we can make according to our
Yeah.
So, and how can we have to use the CAD software to draw this first, and then we have to import it into ANSYS.
Yeah, you have to have some existing model. There are some benchmark problems available.
Okay, sir.
Benchmark problems for which some thousands of people at thousands of labs they have produced and they developed the results which are reliable. Okay, so first, any big complicated problem when you are going to take those simple problems, there is what is called as Ahmed body. It is a particular shape. Okay, something like this will be there. Okay, some standard dimensions are available and results are available. Okay, so when you have imagined some beautiful shape, right? And you have developed and you got it. But if you can show that for this shape, you get the result exactly as the benchmark result available, then they will rely on your result.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right? Anything else?
Sir, regarding the assumption of the problems, so in a real life problem,
Yeah.
sir, how the assumptions will be taken? So, like to eliminate
Yeah.
such for.
Yeah, that's what you have to have the physics of understanding. Suppose in thermodynamics, suppose you taken, okay, thermodynamics, I have to solve a nozzle problem. I have the first law of thermodynamics equation is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, energy conservation equation. So there, I know from the physics that change in the datum level is negligible. So change in potential energy I can neglect.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it is found that mainly change in enthalpy and kinetic energy are dominant.
Okay, sir.
Okay, no heat transfer, no work transfer. So just if velocity increase, enthalpy decrease. If velocity decrease, enthalpy increase. That's the only thing. But if I take a boiler, the change in the datum, change in potential energy is negligible. Change in kinetic energy is negligible. But there is heat transfer is there. Work transfer is negligible. But change in enthalpy is dominant. So enthalpy increases if heat is given, enthalpy decreases if heat is reduced. So only those two I will consider. I will find out what is the heat transfer or what is the enthalpy increase or decrease. Am I right or not?
Okay, sir.
So in that way, by understanding the physics, I can understand which are dominant, which are less dominant, or which can be neglected.
Okay, sir.
Right? Anything else? Okay, this is very important class, right? It gives the complete overview of the CFD. Yeah, I will send you the video and PPT, right? You can discuss again anytime about any particular topic. Okay then.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I think you have next class, and I also didn't have my lunch. I think you also may lose time for the lunch. If you have already completed lunch, it's okay. Otherwise,
Thank you, sir.
and I think no time for the story. Also, again, there is a story there. Okay, we will stop here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Yes, sir.
So we'll see on Thursday, right? Wednesday itself, I think we have lab tomorrow. We'll meet in the lab.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. See you.